Welcome to another episode of the Jesus Cartel. You got to experience your first taste of our opening. How did it feel? Were you as impressed by the power of my hand clap as most people?
Yes, I feel like
somebody's here. Oh, I didn't realize we had somebody here.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking me that.
No. It's weird being on a podcast with you and simultaneously not wanting to talk to you, but
I really thought this was all about me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to like this already.
It's usually how our episodes start. It's like, I have to talk to Clay and I don't want to. And then I get used to it.
two people with the exact same personality on the podcast at the same time.
You two guys? Yeah, I'm
So
excited
who is
about
our
it.
guest?
I don't know. First time I've seen her. Now, with us is Clay's... I'm not going to tell you where she ranks in terms of the Russell children. I think that'd be unfair. We may get into that later. Let Clay divulge this live in front of her. But she is the middle child. Whether or not she has middle child syndrome, that's another conversation possibly yet to be had. But this is Miss Alayna Russell.
She likes to be referred to as my youngest daughter.
Yes. And I thought you knew that.
Yeah.
I don't go by middle child. I'll go by
But you
youngest
are.
daughter.
Youngest daughter.
I'm also youngest daughter.
In today's society, Cooper could change his mind and become the youngest daughter.
And sometimes he does call me his first boy. So, you can go either way.
Well then,
Hey, this is going to be a great
this
episode.
is good. We're gonna out the
Already.
gate. This is gonna be good. What's been going on with you guys?
So just so everybody knows, in complete fairness, the reason why we're having my youngest daughter on the podcast with us today is because I wanted to spend some time with her. She just come in from Dallas last night. She's actually doing work from home right now. She's taking an early lunch break, and our schedules just did not match as much as we want them to. And so I said, well, look, just come on Jesus Cartel with us, and it'll be like we're spending time together. So, hey, there we go. You got to get it in where you can.
Yeah, were you as excited about being on the podcast as he was to get to spend time with you?
You know what? I think I'm pretty good with the flow these days. So if y'all tell me to be on the podcast, I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to be on the podcast.
There you go.
Amen.
I like it.
them.
I respect it. So what's been going on with you guys?
Well, I will say this. She is also my only child that's ever been on the podcast.
And I'm the second Ruskell,
That's true.
so number 2.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep, second Ruskell and first of my children.
That's good. You know, I hadn't even thought about the fact that none of your kids have
So Aria
wanted to
and
spend
Alayna.
any time with you and be
so
on your
Aria
podcast.
and Alayna are
Yeah.
the two that's made it from the Ruskells.
Interesting. I don't know that the people know that we have a family group chat.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's the Russells and the Skulls, which is where Russ Skulls come from, but it's also Ryan Kincaid.
But his name doesn't match.
Well, there is an R in Ryan, and so we just kind of attribute that R as part of him. And so, yeah, that was probably 2-3 years ago or something like that.
September of 2023.
Ryan and I found out that there was a family group chat happening, and that we were not getting included in some of these conversations. So we started another one, and we've been in most. I think that they still have like a rogue family group chat that excludes us, which we're obviously not okay with. But there is still some rebellion in the Russell family. But for the most part, we do have a whole lot of conversation in there, and it's a lot of fun.
yep. So life is good. Both the girls are coming in from Dallas this weekend, so we're excited about that.
Awesome.
Cooper's got one of his last regular season football games. So
Who do y'all have?
So we have Ravel coming to town.
Okay.
Now Ravel's coach this year is an old friend of mine, Lynn Milliton.
Yeah.
Lynn grew up as the quarterback at Franklin Parish High School, or Winsboro High School at the time, and now he is the head football coach at Ravel. So
about that?
he's got a lot more discipline to the team, and they're doing better. They're like 5-3 right now.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I did not realize that. That's
Yep,
great.
They're doing really good, and he took over like right before the season, so he didn't even have a whole off season with them. So we're very proud of what they're doing, and they'll be coming to Mangum tonight. So that's always going to be a good time, and it's Halloween. I didn't even realize
I keep
that.
forgetting that. Yeah.
Yep, it's Halloween. So Ravel coming to Mangum on Halloween night. Hey, it's got to be great theater.
Yeah, it could be a good time. How did the game last week go? Y'all
So
had OCS?
we played OCS last week, and it went about the way that I thought it was going to go.
Alayna's just
No, OCS game, they're bigger, stronger, faster.
Okay.
And very disciplined in the way they are. They were jumped upon us because of some errors that we made early on in the ball game. Now, once we settled down, it was fine. Second half, we scored 1 touchdown. They scored 1 touchdown. But at the jump,
damage was done already.
Yeah, the damage was done. And so now they didn't let up. We just got better, but they were already better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're just a better version of where we would like to be.
There you go. Well, that's good stuff, though. It's take some of that in and learn from it. As long as you adjust to it, because you're not in the playoffs yet, as long as you adjust to it, it's not a bad thing to have things like that exposed.
Right.
And
And you won't be playing a team of that caliber. But you will be playing some very good teams, and now you know more about your team than you did before.
That's good.
So,
That's
and
good.
Alayna's going to the Louisiana Tech game tonight. So tell them about that.
Yep.
Yeah, so Tech is playing their homecoming game tonight on
Okay.
Halloween on Friday at
Yeah.
night. So
Are
that
you
is-
going to dress up?
I am not. I have a pizza costume in my car just in case that I need it, but I don't plan on using it.
Do you have to use the pizza costume for anything, or do you just
No,
have like
just
an
a backup.
emergency? You have an emergency costume.
Just in case.
That is wild. That is a level of responsibility that is superior to most of what
So
you
now
have in
here's
life.
the truth.
Okay.
The truth is that she had a thing tomorrow night in Dallas that she could have wore that for, that she bought it for, but she decided to come spend quality time with her family. So she went ahead and brought her costume just in case she needed
Yeah.
it, but she decided to make a detour and spend time with her family.
So I figured it'd be versatile, whatever
Yeah.
room that I was in on Halloween.
Well, the thing about a pizza costume is there's lots of occasions outside of Halloween that it
Exactly.
might
That's
would
what I
be
was thinking.
useful.
I'm
you know?
hungry, but I'm pizza costume. Let y'all know.
You might could get free pizza at places if you show up.
Johnny's would probably eat it up.
I'm saying. Well, is it a triangle?
It's
It's
a
a
triangle.
triangle.
It's more
As soon as she
Pizza
said
Hut.
that, I was like, we got to go to Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah. But hey, I like it. I got a lot of respect. What made you decide on pizza? What was the?
So my roommates and their friends were doing something at their house, and they're all being fast food characters.
Ooh.
And my best friend is being Little Caesars. So I
Okay.
needed to be in the group without being in the group, like
I
in the
get
group
it.
adjacent.
I get it.
And pizza's my favorite food.
I like it. I did not know that about you. Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I love
Any
pizza.
particular joint, or just across the
Just
board pizza?
I don't think I've ever had pizza that I didn't like.
All right. Praise God.
Yep.
That's awesome. We are Operation Family Freedom is setting up at our very first conference this weekend.
Good.
It is a women's conference
Hey.
that I, Andrew Skoll, not a woman,
Yeah.
because I know what a woman is. It's a very controversial topic nowadays.
Yeah.
I will be at a women's conference setting up
Yeah.
and representing Operation Family Freedom and sharing the vision of our organization with a lot of women who are seeking to deepen their relationship with the Lord. And so just excited about the potential there to make some connections, meet some people. We're going to be praying for people all day. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
I think
so-
it's great. You know, Alayna and I were at that same women's conference deal 6 months ago.
April.
Me playing music and her
She
speaking
spoke.
at it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So great people there. So y'all
Yeah.
will have a good time.
If you've never gotten involved in Desperate for Jesus, I would look into it. It's been
Love
growing
Desperate
a
for
lot
Jesus.
too. It's it's like anything around Franklin Parish. You always start small, but
Right.
they've seen a pretty
Oh, yeah.
massive amount of growth since it began. And so super impressed with the ladies they're running and organizing that. Their workhorses, very organized. It's a fantastic ordeal that they're doing. And so if you haven't ever looked into it, it's called Desperate for Jesus. Is it specified to Franklin Parish? Like, do they have like a page or something that's
Yes.
Desperate for Jesus Franklin Parish?
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
so look into that if you're local to us. And man, I would encourage you strongly to get involved.
Yeah, and even if you're not, we like to learn from other people and stuff, and how I got to watch this organization from the ground floor. And, what started out as a vision, from one lady, she realized quickly that she didn't want to do this on her own. So she surrounded herself with other great, strong people and gave them all responsibilities and
That's
stuff.
right.
Because what they put on And as often as they put it on, I think like 4 or 5 times a year, it would be very big for one person. And so, the visionary behind it realized that, hey, I need to include more people and more churches and stuff. So Michelle's done a great job of getting other people on board to help out with that, and just to see how it's evolved and the structure behind it that you were alluding to. It's not a coincidence. It's on purpose. And, so anytime you do something, hey, do it well. Do it well from the very beginning. Include other people. She's including other churches. It's been easy for her to get great praise and worship and speakers and stuff because she's been, including other people since the very beginning of it. So just great way to run an organization.
Yeah. Too many people make it a me show.
Yeah.
And it makes things very, very difficult, And so, a lot of props. A lot of props to her. A lot of props to the people involved. Just having the big picture in mind over, selfish ambition. And, you'd like to think that there's not a lot of that in the church. But unfortunately, that's not what we've seen in life. Right. It's not the reality. Is that, ego can get the best of anybody. And that's why it's so important to be rooted and remember, the roots of where you come from and really what you're capable of apart from Christ, which is pretty much nothing.
Right. I'm working, mentoring a young man right now that has went through that in his life, in the church. And I didn't realize that because, I don't know, I've been part of ministry for a long time now, and been part of praise teams for a long time. But I was about a year or two ago, I was talking to a couple of guys that were on the platform at a denominational church, and they were talking about how everybody in the church wants to be on the platform.
Yeah.
Everybody there wants to be a musician. They want to be a singer. They want to be something because that's where the honor is.
Yeah.
Is on that platform, And like I said, it was a local denominational type church. And they said, and then when you get to the platform, then you want to move closer in the platform, closer to the front.
Yeah.
And it was like everybody's jockeying for position and stuff. And I don't really, to me, it just kind of blew my mind. I didn't really understand it because, you shouldn't have that selfish, mindset in the church, right? But they said their whole praise team platform and everything was all about getting in a better position and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm mentoring a young man that's experienced some of that in a different church, and now he's, hanging out with us, doing stuff with us, and he's really way too hard on himself.
Yeah.
He's not as happy about what he's doing as he should be. And we're all, just really happy with what's happening in his life and what God's doing. But for him, his mind has just been too much performance based.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be that way, but it was kind of ingrained in him at a young age, and that's difficult.
Yeah. And it's odd because, I remember when I first came into ministry, there was a lot of that with me as well. Now, that wasn't because of the church that I was a part of. That was just the, ego that I had before, and then coming straight into ministry with no buffer. I mean, it was a 4-day notice between my last day of drinking and me starting to help lead. And so I didn't get any adjustment period. And so I'm seeing all these people who are these great speakers and wonderful worship leaders, and I'm like, that's where I'm trying to get. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like cutthroat where I wished anyone like ill, but I definitely would see people have opportunities and be like, man, I'm better than that guy. I don't understand why I'm not getting some of these same opportunities. And it's like, man, what an unhealthy place to exist in the body. But that was the reality. I hadn't really hit that place in my relationship with Jesus where I recognized the reality of what I'd done with my life before. I still had a very storybook picture of how things have been, which was not true, but it's just the reality I'd kind of created for myself. And the more mature I got, or have gotten over the years, and the more I got around people who were genuinely rooted in their relationship with Jesus, the more I stepped away from that. And it was very humbling in a lot of ways, because the people I truly, not good speakers, but the people I truly wanted to be like, weren't like that. There were people who jockeyed for those positions, but I would never have traded private lives with them.
Right.
I didn't like their private life. But the ones who were truly humble, that I was like, man, I would trade lives with this guy, they were not interested in taking center stage. They would take it when it was necessary, but they were never jockeying for it. In fact, it was almost the other way. They'd be, like, I'm talking some of the most dynamic, like God moves every time they open their mouth type of people were like, hey, does anybody else want to give a word tonight? I've got something if nobody does, but if anybody else would like to, and I'm just like, who does this? You know what I mean? Like, you got a crowd here, man. And so it just really redirected, what I learned to be normal in people. There's a difference in people who are seeking to look like Jesus and people who are seeking praise for looking like Jesus. And Scripture is very clear. It's like, hey, you can pray out in the open and real loud and in front of everybody, but that's the only reward you're going to get for it, is the notoriety that you get for it. And that's going to be as far as it goes. And so it's a different thing. And I'm just thankful to the Lord for moving me and the people that I love away from those things. Like I never saw so many people struggle with that because they were raised differently, and it's taught me to raise my children different. My children won't have that struggle because I was raised by people who raised their children differently, and it's good.
Yeah, I like it. When I came into the church and stuff, I mean, at the time, I was a professional saxophone player.
Yeah.
And that's what I was the best at. But they were going towards more praise and worship. And they loved me playing saxophone, but they needed a drummer.
Yeah.
So then, I have to do something that I'm not as good at, just because it benefits the church the most. Yeah. And then, my best friend that was the best drummer in the world gets saved, and now we don't need a drummer because he needs to be the drummer. Now he teaches me how to play bass guitar, something that I've never done before. Yeah. 4 days later, I'm the bass player, so those things have never bothered me none. I'm just as good at being the 10th man as I am the first man. Yeah. So it's like next man up, just like with her. This morning she wouldn't have never asked to be on the Jesus Cartel, but I asked her to come on Jesus Cartel to spend time with me, and she's like, okay, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do it. Yeah. Now, truth be known, she could run Jesus Cartel. Sure. And probably have way better ratings than what we have,
I agree. She may.
Yeah, she may, She may. But at the same time, she's not trying to say, hey, y'all need to have me on this podcast so y'all can get some better ratings.
That's right. That's right. So with that, it's time for us to ask you the get to know you segment question that we always ask when we have a guest, which is,
and I don't remember it.
What is your favorite thing about your father and I?
That is so unfair because I've known both of you for so long.
Well, hey, then you should have a great list of things to choose from.
You can go with Andrew first.
Yeah.
So what
I
are
don't
your
know if
favorite?
I want to go with Andrew.
So what are your favorite things about Andrew?
Like attributes of Andrew.
Sure. Whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
This is so fun. People always squirm when we ask.
For those of you who do not know, I'm going to look at the people for this one. Andrew was I'd say that he was my first youth pastor that I ever had because I was in 7th grade. And I was his first one at this new church that he was at. Yeah. And so Andrew has seen every side of Alayna's life from 12 years old to 22 years old. So we've made it to a decade.
That's right. That's wild.
And I feel like we've both had very different stages of life in the last 10 years. So that's why I'm struggling because you're so different than you were back then.
I know.
I think personally it's that you're so constant. Like, even though it's been 10 years and things have changed a lot in 10 years, like your faith hasn't changed, the way you feel about your family hasn't changed, like the way that you hold yourself, you haven't changed throughout that whole time. And I think that everybody that knows you knows like the same Andrew, if that makes sense. Like you're not different in every room.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's good stuff.
I don't know if I was supposed to say something funny or not.
You did good. Whatever
it's whatever's on your mind.
And then, Daddy, that's just so different because I think my favorite compliment is when somebody says, "You look so much like your dad. You act so much like your dad. You walk like your dad." Like anything, like even like you cough the same way as your dad. That is like, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do. Clay Russell's my father." So I think that everything about my dad's my favorite because if I can live a day that's like my dad, I'm accomplished.
That's good.
So that, I mean, there's not one thing
So
about my dad I
she's
don't
my
like.
mini-me. That's right. She's my junior.
That's
Junior.
good.
That's right. Ain't that reserved for a boy?
I think that is tearing up.
Could we start calling her Junior? Is that a...
That's
I
been
did
a
a
thing
lot of
before.
times. That's been a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Clay, what's your favorite thing about Alayna?
Yeah.
Yeah, that she's my junior. No, Alayna has the heart that everybody else needs to have. You know, her compassion, her empathy. You know, she doesn't. People say that you have to learn how to be empathetic, but she's always been that way. She's, you know, everybody is sympathetic, but
Must be
it's,
nice.
Yeah, but it's difficult for people to be empathetic. But that's not her. She has the heart. The good thing about her is that everything that I am in my Christian life, she is her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so she didn't have to, you know, grow into all those good qualities. She always has those good qualities. So she's always loved people and been there for people and been the person that wants to help everybody and wants everybody to succeed. Now, the thing where that gets the most difficult is a lot of times she sacrifices herself for other people. You know, so not only does she have all those great qualities, but she's always had them. And because she's always had them, then she gets better at them. But sometimes she gets to where she's, you know, helps people too much. But it's because she has the heart that everybody wished that they had.
Yeah, that's good. I have always appreciated about Alayna, she has an effortless ability to make people love her. And that's not easy. That's not easy. It's not a skill that you develop. It's a part of your character. And if you look at the history of the Skull family Facebook pictures, Alayna is in
the cover photo. And Andrew's not in
she is in most of them. But it's because the pictures that we have from my family where they're the most full of life, Alayna was in the picture.
I love this.
It's no coincidence because the effect that you have on my girls and my wife, not just my children, my wife as well, and me, it's something that you can't replicate, you can't fake. And so you create genuine moments when you're around people, and I think that people feel like when I say they can be themselves, I don't mean like be who they really. What I mean is like you free people up to walk and look like Jesus, to love like Jesus, and to really walk in everything that God created them to be. Because in most rooms, there's actually the opposite pressure to suppress those things. You open that up for everybody, and it has a massive effect on my kids. My kids love the Russells, but they love you the most. No, they do, and they would tell you that. You're probably, other than Clay, just because they see Clay the most, they see Clay and Miss Becky the most, but I would bet that you're the only one of the kids they could name. They see the kids all the time, but you just have a different impact on the room.
I wish I could see them every day.
I
Their
know.
pictures actually by my bed. It's your family's by my bed.
So, and just to teach people, you know, he said that, you know, his greatest quality about Alayna is that, you know, she makes people love her. Well, the reason that she makes people love her is because she knows how to love well.
Yep.
So because she loves other people well, then it's easier for other people to love her.
Yep.
So they're just reciprocating what she's already given out.
That's right.
And so if you want people to love you and to like being around you and stuff, then you need to first love them.
Yep.
and then let it be genuine. And with her, it is genuine. You know, she's the person that when she walks in the room, she wants to, you know, speak to everybody in the room, just like I do. not so that she can be acknowledged, but
Yeah.
so that they know that she acknowledged them.
That's good.
And so she's not going to be the one that hides, and it isn't that she's trying to be the center of attention. It's right the opposite. She's trying to let them know that they matter.
That's right. And so every time we have a guest, we ask this question. We do it every time. And there's a reason I always like to bring up this point because it's very, very important. There's never a bad time to give honor to people.
Amen.
There's never a bad time to give honor to people, and you can never give too much honor to people. Every opportunity you have to honor the people around you, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. It feeds their soul. Everyone, I would think it's safe to say that everyone at the table is encouraged, more encouraged than we were when we started. Why? Because that's what honor does.
Right.
And so give honor to the people around you. If there's people around you who are doing well or killing it in an area or something like that, and you can brag on them, take today and just brag on somebody. Brag on everybody you come in
Right.
whatever way you can. Just give honor to them, encourage one another. This is a big part of what the early church was designed to do. It's still the purpose of the church, but I say early church because it's kind of gotten lost.
Right.
We see it really heavy, encouragement in the early church, and I think a lot of people are like, well, what is encouragement? That's encouragement, giving honor, appreciating what people are accomplishing for the kingdom, and encouraging them to continue by honoring what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'll just add this. I've had a lot of people tell me, "Well, you have the gift of encouragement." They tell me, "You're just a great encourager." But here's the deal: when you encourage somebody, don't lie to them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's the big deal. Don't tell them they're doing great when they're not. Now, they may be doing better in the area than they were before. Acknowledge, hey, man, you're doing so much better. Don't tell them they're killing it if they're not killing it. And don't tell them they're doing great, they're not doing great. But find the level where you can honestly encourage them. And when you do that, they respect that. Mm-hmm. But if you're just blowing a bunch of smoke, then it doesn't mean
trust
anything.
your words.
That's right.
It's been years, and you may not remember. It's been a long time, and it's totally fair
I have
play.
a really good memory.
If you don't remember, do you remember the sandwich method I taught y'all at correcting people?
Yes,
Where
and
you-
I still use it. The
Yeah.
love sandwich compliment.
That's
compliment
right.
sandwich. Yeah.
Right. And so when we correct people, a lot of times, if possible, and it's not always possible for the record, sometimes there's not good things to say. Sometimes you got to go sharp because that's just the situation. But if you can, I like to always open with an encouragement. Hey, look, man, I noticed you've been working really hard at these things. I'm super proud of you for being diligent in those areas. I know those are struggles for you. I have noticed, and then small correction, and then follow up with what things will look like should they make those corrections that's going to be positive. And so it just kind of creates an atmosphere for them to be more easily accepting of the correction rather than just walking up and saying, hey, look, man, you kind of suck at this. And so it's harder for people sometimes.
But the funniest part about that is when you told us that, then weeks after we would go up to each other and be like, Andrew just compliment sandwiched me because he said, and we began to recognize that you were pulling out good things when you would tell us the difficult things. We were like, that was just a joke for years.
Yeah.
But the difficult deal with that is that when you give people a compliment and then they go on and on about their, man, you're right. I'm glad you recognize that. And next thing you know, they go and you never got to give them the correction.
No, Andrew don't give you
it's got to be quick.
The breath. It's got to be quick.
It's got to be quick. Yeah, that is one of the
right
downsides of teaching people things, especially in communication.
They know your tricks.
That's the major thing that more than anything, I guess I say more than anything, outside of the gospel, the thing I teach most is communication.
Yes.
And it's exactly what you just said. When you teach people how to communicate, they begin to recognize the tactics that you are using to, and it's not a manipulation. They're just legitimate ways to communicate with people better. And so I'll be in the middle of doing something and someone like, are you doing this to me right now? I'm like, maybe. What's
Not
it to you?
consciously, yeah.
But you have to be careful. Just like I had a best friend that was on the praise team with us.
Just one best friend?
This one best friend that was on the praise team with us. And at the time, she was the leader, and I knew. So I would hear her give undue praise to somebody.
Yeah.
Trying to really boost them up. And I'm just as good a musician or better than her, so I know what level this person's at. Mm-hmm. But because she's boosting them up higher than that, then I'm thinking, hey, when you give me compliments, are you lying then too?
Yeah.
You know, and not necessarily, she wasn't trying to lie. It's just that when you build people up and when you give people compliments and stuff, you need to believe that. And so don't,
correct, yeah.
you know, so it is important to acknowledge people, honor them, and do those things, but not to such a great degree to where it's manipulation or, you know, lying or anything like that.
Well,
Yeah.
and here's the money word that we're looking for here. Flattery is dangerous.
Right.
It's dangerous.
That's right.
It just is. If you're going to
Honor
give,
and flattery is not the
they're
same.
not the same. If you're going to give a compliment, make sure you mean it and make sure you believe it, because you got to stand on it.
Yeah.
And when it
Yeah.
comes back later, well, hey, you said I was this. And you're like, well, I was lying to try to, you know,
Right,
I was
true.
trying to make you feel better because I had to correct. Like, you can't do that. That will fold on itself.
I think growing up, if Daddy ever said that, he would, of course, he's always like proud of me. But if he ever said like, "Great job at this," or "That was really good," or like, "You worked really hard and you accomplished that," I knew that he meant it.
Yeah.
Because at the times that I wouldn't try as hard and I wouldn't do as good, he wouldn't say that. Like, he wouldn't be mad at me.
He
but
would
he
say,
wouldn't
"I'm
say,
not proud of
"Great
you."
job." Like, and go home with the C on my report card. He wouldn't be like, "Great job, you tried your hardest," because it was obvious I didn't try my hardest.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that I'm able to carry that with other people in every day.
That's good. That's really good. That's a big reason. People are going to think this is funny, like I'm like ultra competitive with my children. I'm not. But I don't just let them win things.
Right.
I
No.
make them develop skill. Now, I'm not like brutal. I don't play them like I'm playing adults. But I'm always playing.
I did.
I ain't never won a game of basketball against him.
I play just like a sliver above their skill level for as long as I can, because it challenges them. They'll get better from that. You know, if I play my absolute best, they won't get any better, and they'll hate the game. But if I just stay just a margin above them, it challenges them, make them better. No, we let them score some goals. We let them have some success. But we also make them struggle, and
Right.
And it's the same kind of way when we're dealing with people. We want to always push people to be better. We don't ever want to flatter them to the point of contentment, especially if they're not in a place where contentment would be a good thing
Right.
for them. You know.
Right.
Yeah, we did that, you know, with the kids all the time. I mean, just, you know, aggressive with them. You know, hey, you know, not so much that they wouldn't ever want to play, but at the same time, let them know, you know.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, when they would, you know, talk a little too much trash or whatever, then score another 5 points in a row just
Yeah.
to let them
Humble
know
us.
who Daddy is. And it's the same way, you know, I tell the guys all the time, man, I want you to be bigger, stronger, and faster so much that I would love for you to surpass me. The only issue with that is I've been walking this thing out for 28 years now at a pretty good path, you know, pretty good speed the whole time, and I'm not fixing to wait on you.
Yeah.
So I would love, in theory, for you to pass me up, but I'm not going to stop in order for you to catch up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same way with our kids, the same way with the people we're mentoring. Hey, we want to see you do good, and we're going to help you, and we're going to honor you, and we're going to honor where you are and where you're going and that kind of stuff. But what we're not going to do is act like you're doing something that you're not, and we're not going to wait on you.
Yeah. That's right.
You know,
That's right.
because
That's good.
God's got a plan for our life too.
Hey, while we were sitting here and you were saying that, I had an email pop up that your oldest daughter, I guess it's what, before
Yes,
you're the youngest, your
that's her
oldest
name.
daughter, she just sent a donation to help free slaves from the Bibles. We had,
Oh,
we
okay.
discussed
So
that.
yeah, she's got a new project,
Yeah.
and so yeah, let's talk about that just real quick, and then we'll go. I don't know if we mentioned that, but Bayou Lettering, BayouLettering.com is Annalise Russell. She is the oldest of the Ruskell children,
Yeah.
and she has been painting Bibles for a long time. Well, now she's learned how to engrave on Bibles, so now it's her handwriting being engraved on Bibles and stuff. And a portion of, and it took her months to figure this out. The machine's like $30,000, but the portion of the proceeds from them are all going to Operation Family Freedom.
Yeah.
So if you go
It's
to
been really cool.
BayouLettering.com, which is one of our sponsors here on Jesus Cartel, not only will you be helping the Ruskells and Annalise, but you'll also be helping Operation Family Freedom.
That's right.
Yep.
We're talking about flattery and talking about letting people be content in areas where it can be a little dangerous. I'm going to take it just a hair to the extreme because I've got a fairly extreme example that works real well, because we were talking about sports. But most people know, maybe not everybody, most people know that I do hand-to-hand combat, have for a while. So I train my children, not extensively. I mean, they're young, not extensively, but they're very familiar. And from time to time, we'll spend some time on the mats and practice and things like that. Well, it was probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Aria was 6 or 7, and we were out in the yard, had some mats in the driveway, and we were just training, and we were rolling through some things, and I'm letting them, move around and advance and make some moves, and I'm so much heavier than them that I have to be very careful with them, because if I at any point let my weight fall on them, it's going to hurt them just because of sheer weight. And so in basketball, I can play a lot harder against my kids than I can in grappling because of physical safety reasons. And so I'm being very gentle with my kids, and I can see Aria's ego while we're there just climb because I'm letting her have so much success. And she tries a move, it doesn't work, and she looks at me and she gives me a look that I've never seen her give me before. And I was like, "What's wrong?" She was like, "I'm pretty sure I could have choked you out just then." I was like, "Oh, baby, no."
Her father's daughter right there.
No, I was like, "No, baby, you cannot." I said, "Daddy is a grown man." I said, "Take away the fact that I've been training for 17 years. Daddy is a grown man. You cannot choke a grown man. It doesn't matter how good you get. You're 7. You're not going to choke a grown man." And she looks at me, she goes, "I think I can." And so, like, in this moment, I'm like, I've got to show her right now. I've got to show her right now, for her own safety, that she can't do that. And so I said, "Okay, I'd like for you to try." And so we slap hands. This is just how you start. We slap hands, and as soon as she slaps my hand, I snatch her arm, and I turn her around so fast, and I just, like, envelop her immediately. And, she taps out. We're talking less than 2 seconds. I did it as fast as I could without hurting her. And she starts crying, but she's not crying because she's hurt. She's crying because she really thought that she could do it. And I was like, "Listen, baby, we're training in a situation that I hope we never have to use. The only reason we're doing this is to give you a shot. But the reality is, men are so much stronger than women naturally, that it is never safe, no matter how good you get at this, no matter how old you get, it is never safe and never a good idea for you to physically challenge a male, ever. And we had a good, but let's say I flatter her there and say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe you could." And then some guy goes to put his hands on a woman at a grocery store or something like that, and my 7-year-old decides to waltz over and try to handle this situation. Now she is in real danger because of flattery. And it's like, people look at that situation and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of an extreme example. The only difference between that example and regular flattery is the immediate consequence. Right. That consequence would be immediate. You're killing them slowly over a longer period of time. So it's equally dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. And so for the last little bit of the episode, I'd really just like to kind of zone in on you here. That'd be okay? So you did grow up under a family who raised you to love the Lord, who raised you to know your identity in Christ. And a lot of people in the world have kind of varied opinions about those things. Just kind of off the top of my head, some people think that it can be a little strict. It can be a little bit too much, be a little overkill. Maybe you miss out on a lot of things. And then also there's kind of a belief system that everybody's got to go sow their wild oats. And if you don't go off and test the extremes of life, then you'll never really appreciate your relationship with Jesus. There's all these kind of things that I hear regularly because I'm raising my children this now. They're very young, so I hear them all the time. I am curious, what has been your experience in that?
Sure. I don't want to sound not human or that like I'm not telling the full truth when I say this, but I've never felt that way. Like
Yeah.
I've never felt like I was missing out on something else in life because I was following the Lord. Because I think when you're a Christian, it's so different. Because it wasn't that I was just doing what my parents told me to do. It was that I was doing what the Lord told me to do. And I loved the Lord so much since I was 6 years old. So it was like, yes, my parents want me to not do something terrible. But
Yeah.
also I don't want to do anything terrible because I love the Lord.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, also like, we're in Fresh Start right now. And I've been to every Thanksgiving and every Christmas since I was 2006. So since
Yeah.
I was 3 years old at Fresh Start. And if that isn't like a warning, then I don't really know what is. Like my whole life I've grown up around people that have been saved, healed, and delivered from awful things that like not necessarily that they've done, but that's happened to them. And so I've walked up like seeing the redemption of God, and I knew that like I don't have to experience something to know how much God loved me because I've seen it my whole life. Like lived through
That's so
other
good.
people's testimonies instead of having the same testimony as them.
So you don't feel like you missed out on things?
Not in the least.
No.
I live a very
good.
At 22 years old, I live a really good life.
Yeah.
And
that's talking about like through your childhood?
Yes.
Like even when you were young, you didn't feel like you missed out on stuff?
Nope.
And then going through like college, you don't feel like you
Nope.
maybe should. Have you ever done hard drugs?
Nope.
Why? You know,
I just never like.
So
I
you
don't know.
you
like.
and I'm about to ask you a question. It may be hard for you to pinpoint, but as
Yeah.
best you can. When do you feel like you really started to love the Lord?
Okay. My first time going to Mexico, I was 12.
Yep.
6 months before that, we did a study called Experiencing God.
Yep.
And that's when I was really getting into my faith. I was about to turn 13. So I was in my 12s. I was
Yep.
very young. And I had just started experiencing God. And I knew that God could do all of these great things, but it hadn't yet related that to my life yet.
Gotcha.
And so I saw people do great, and like my dad, my mom, like loved the Lord and stuff, and that was so great for them. I was so grateful. I remember being like 10 years old and being so grateful for the life that I was given from the Lord, but I hadn't yet related, okay, now the Lord's going to use me, and that I was now a vessel for God.
Yeah.
So when I was 12, my dad put me on the side of the road in a third world country, literally sharing my testimony for the little bit that I felt like I had, but like he
Was
constantly
that
reminded
India?
me that no, Mexico, Yucatan.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
so-
into cash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember the story of you sharing your testimony. I don't know why I thought it was over there. That's
Yeah.
so you're in Takash,
In
Mexico.
The city,
Cash.
in the city center.
And I'm with all high schoolers and me and
Uh-huh.
my dad. And my dad's like, you grab the mic, Alayna. And I remember telling him, like, Daddy, I don't have a testimony yet. Like, I'm 12. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? And he's like, you've been a Christian for 6 years. Like,
Yeah.
you just went through experiencing God. You've seen all these great things. And he handed me the mic. And I was like, okay, I think I had the mic for like 15 minutes. Like, homegirl was preaching for a long time. And that night, I saw these wonderful miracles I'll never forget.
Mhm.
And it's like when you're faithful with little things, like just holding the mic and talking to whoever's going to listen on the side of the road, like the Lord really revealed himself to me that night. And I saw miracles that I'll literally never forget.
Yeah.
So
How incredible.
that was the moment.
Yeah. So I can't say for sure, but I would contend that that's probably the difference maker is when you fall in love with the Lord.
Right.
Because the Lord has loved you your whole life.
Right.
You know, and I think that there's a lot of us, myself included, that at very young I had some sort of awareness that God loved me, but I didn't love him. It wasn't necessarily like a rejection of it. It was like I don't even know what that looks like. Like, how do I love God? You know, like, sure, he keeps me safe, he takes care of us. You know, and really for a lot of people that's kind of limited. You know, a lot of people go through some really rough situations and
Right.
circumstances, and they don't even have the privilege to say that I've been safe.
Right.
And so when I got to the point where I actually started loving the Lord, not just knowing that he loved me, that's when things started to shift. Like, that's when I don't care about what other people are doing. I don't
Right.
feel like I'm missing anything like that. And so that's why I was kind of curious of where that fell.
Right.
It would make sense that it happened about then. Because you would have bypassed all of the, because you already had a genuine love for him.
Right. And
And
it's,
so that's cool. I'm sorry. That's
Okay.
cool the way it works. You know, if you raise your children the way we're raising them, then hey, you know, somewhere around that 5, 6, 7, year old life, they're going to feel the unction to be saved and to be baptized and everything. And then, and so they feel like they're, part of the family and that kind of stuff and part of God. But then they're, like she said, I mean, they're very happy about their parents' relationship, but they don't know anything about relationships, and so they're trying to learn them. But, when they get to an age to where they can start developing real relationships, then they'll desire to have a real relationship with God,
That's right.
and with Him, and that's what happened in their life.
right.
That's good.
And I would say like the next stage of that would be, okay, now I know that God loves me at 6, and then at 12, I love God. And then at like 17, that's when I started serving in the youth. And that's when I learned how to love people. And that was like an almost bigger deal for me because, okay, like now God has equipped me for the last 10 years. But how do I use that to make disciples?
Yeah.
And that's when I really felt a call of, okay, like this, it's very selfish to live a life just for myself.
Yeah.
Like I have to start giving this stuff out instead of just, okay, the Lord loves me, I love the Lord, and this is what I'm going to do for the Lord. Okay, like this world is fleeting. What am I going to do with that? So.
Yeah. Man, that's huge.
Yeah, so she's preaching or speaking the message that you and I helped write for me for this weekend.
Yeah.
Being an ambassador for Christ, you know.
Please don't make me talk on Sunday.
No, Andrew and I worked on my message earlier this week. So.
Gotcha.
That's what I ended up sharing Wednesday with our students as well, just because it was all
Yeah,
fresh on my
fresh, yeah.
mind. And man, it's good stuff. I'm excited for your message. It's going to be good. So, any cons at all that you would say, or maybe not necessarily cons like, oh, this was such a horrible thing, but like any challenges that you feel like you probably experienced being raised in a home that's like really rooted in loving the Lord and identity versus just an average home?
I think probably in high school, I heard like, oh, like, don't tell Alayna that you did that because she's a preacher's daughter. She's going to go back and tell her dad. Or like, oh, Alayna can't go there because she's a preacher's daughter. And I was always just like, okay, that's probably what's best for me. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to tell me, that's probably somewhere I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So it's just like always.
So it's like a social pressure kind of.
Yeah, and I just always felt like, okay, so you're protected. Like, you might not feel like you're protecting me. You might feel like you're, like, weighing down on me in a way, but really you're protecting me, and really that's really nice. So I'm just going to take that, and I'm just going to move on. So I've always been, like, I've always had great friends. I've always felt like I've been around a good group of people.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody good in my life have ever been like, oh, your family raised you right, so you can't be around me.
Yeah.
So-
That's good.
Did that answer the
Good.
question?
No, that's perfect. That's
Okay.
perfect. And it makes sense that, and that's kind of the backwardsness of the whole deal is that, the people who would say things like, well, your kids are going to have a hard time because of the way that you're raising them, you're actually the reason that the hard times that they're having are actually from you because of the social pressure that you shove on them. It's like, that's all.
Yeah, so she took something that they might have meant for a negative and turned it into a positive, and it actually helped her instead of hurting her, and we know that God will work all things for his good, and so that's a perfect example of that. You know?
It's also a very mature perspective that you
Yeah.
chose. I'm saying you could
Not
have
caring,
you could have
yeah.
very easily had a different perspective
Right.
and and been like, oh man, I'm being deprived, but that's not what you did.
Yeah,
And,
so many young girls, especially, that 13 to 16-year-old range and stuff, are just so worried about what everybody else is doing and stuff. And, and her having that identity so strong, she didn't have those issues that a lot of people had. I do want to say that when she talked about how when serving and stuff and how that meant probably just as much to her in that maturation process, maturity process, that is something that'll be with her for the rest of her life. She's always want to serve people and help people. Now, when you talked about, the negative side of being in a strong Christian family, the negative side of knowing who you are in Christ and being in church and stuff, the negative side is ministry is difficult.
Yeah.
And ministry is difficult. She has seen, and we probably have handled ministry better than almost anybody else.
Sure.
Being an associate pastor for 20 years, being the director of Fresh Start for 20 years, and then now being the lead pastor and stuff. She's seen a lot of what could have been difficult ministry times, but at the same time, we do make things more positive than we do negative, and because how we handle those things, I think has been a positive for her life. But if we wouldn't handle those things correctly, she could have saw a lot of bad side of ministry and been turned off from it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, because we do handle those things. I mean, we've had some of the very worst things happen that you can imagine. I've counseled 6,000 drug addicts in my life. I mean, people with mental health problems, people going through divorce. Things happen, and things are stuff inside the church itself. Things are difficult. But because we handle them as positive as possible, we shelter our kids from the negative side of it, and they get to see more of the positive side. Even like you said, even when people meant it for negative, then it's been good for them, but the negative side of your dad being a pastor stuff is the ministry side.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was gonna say that too. Like, I've definitely probably seen a lot more people in my life come and go than the average person, and that when you love the Lord and you reach out to people, that happens. And I think that was one of the biggest deals in my life, is like getting so close to people, and then one day they're not there anymore, and it might not make sense, and like my dad might not tell me every bit of it because it's for my own good that I don't know all of that.
Yeah.
And that's also just the challenging thing about being in a small town too. Like, everybody knows everything about you. You're with the same people. I went to kindergarten with the people that I graduated with, and so that's like the joy of being in a small town and everybody knowing you, but also the challenge of it too. So I feel like more so in Dallas, I've been able to use that for good.
Yeah.
Like, I have 5 really close friends that love the Lord so much in Dallas that I never had that in Mangum. Wasn't bad people in Mangum, but also like not as much progression as there is with my friends in Dallas. So I'm just so blessed to be where I currently am, because it's so different from where I was before. Yeah. So just another stage.
And your friends in Dallas are just as rare. It's just you have a much larger pool to find them, know, and so that's a awesome thing, and it's I mean, the reality is I've been a youth pastor to at least 1,000, probably 2,000 students over the years, and I can probably one hand, definitely no more than 2 hands can point to the ones that were just absolutely sold out for their relationship with the Lord. It's not because they weren't presented with the same information. It's just you still, at the end of the day, get to make your own choice for what to do with that information. And so, well, awesome. I really enjoyed having you today. Is there anything else on your mind? Anything else you want to say?
No, thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Well, you got an opportunity to tell America anything you want to tell them.
Thank you, America, for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Got anything else?
No, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Do I get to clap?
Later. Sure, clap it out. We don't do a clap. There is no
we do now.